He is an associate professor of history, religion, and African American studies at Los Angeles City College. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. So you're saying those guys carrying tiki torches in Charlottesville, Virginia, yelling "Jews will not replace us," those are not racists?
You mean the guys in the mask?
No, the guys who were walking around Charlottesville, the campus, and they were yelling "Jews will not replace us," burning tiki torches. They were not racist.
I don't remember that, but if it happened, it was evil, not racism.
Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. I believe that racism actually does exist.
It doesn't. Do you discriminate?
Yeah, I think I do.
And are you a racist?
No, I have no power.
So you don't have power.
No.
But you discriminate.
Yes,
and it's
of
not
course.
Racist.
No, because I have no power to discriminate
against
anybody.
So are you saying white people who don't have power but they discriminate, they're not racist?
That's correct.
Amazing. How did you come up with that?
It's fairly standard knowledge.
Were you taught that at a school or something?
No, it's something that I've come to understand about reading and contemplating.
I have to tell you.
As you would say, reasoning, getting high. History clearly shows that there is a pattern of racial aggression against black people.
You've been lied
to. By whom?
By whomever you've been reading about or you heard this mess from.
So I think that the average person on the street, if you ask them if racism exists in the world, they would tell you yes. You're telling all of us. I would contemplate that there's got to be 7 billion people on the planet, and I would say at least 3 billion of those probably would be able to exercise some judgment. We're all wrong?
Yes. What is racism?
Well, I think if we were to define it broadly, some people would say that racism is discrimination, prejudice against a certain group of people based on their skin color, but I would argue that that's probably a muted definition, that we would have to add systems of power in that definition, because I can dislike someone just because they have a size 13 shoe, that we may call prejudice, but as long as I don't do anything to you, there's probably really no harm in that. But if I'm able to keep you from having a job because you have a size 13 shoe, that's probably, right, would be, if we were to extend this to race, that would be racial.
So who is stopping black people from having a job?
That's really a very strange question, because I wouldn't know the circumstances, right? I mean, what do you mean by that?
Because you said racism is the power kind of.
Yeah, there is a power dynamic that has prevented African Americans from achieving the same level of success as, say, whites. And I'll give an example. So if we were to add up the median income of African Americans in the United States, broadly speaking, it would come out to about $3,000 per family. If we were to do that for whites, the amount would be about $100,000 per family. So then how would you then account for the disparity in the amount of financial acumen or resources that a white family has versus a black family?
So who's stopping black people from achieving those things?
Well, if we were to look at this from a historical standpoint, there have been a number of significant studies that have drawn this out. For example, Kenneth Hamilton's study on white wealth, black repression, where he clearly outlined how in one particular Texas town after the Civil War, whites moved physically and through laws to prevent black people from gaining resources, right?
So who's stopping black people from achieving financially now?
Today? That's a really hard one, and I think it's somewhat of a loaded question. So I'll take myself, for example. I think that I've made some fairly decent decisions in my life that have led me to have some financial success. And I think it's all predicated on the fact that I had a really decent college education. And the decision to go to college was my decision, right? So, but I can't speak for everyone, right? All I can understand is that I think America is designed in a way that prevents a lot of African Americans from achieving the same kind of advancement that the white community has.
Who designed it that way, and who's stopping them today?
Whites have designed it that way.
Who's stopping them
Let's
today?
not get it twisted. Whites have designed the system
So
in a way that
stopping blacks today from being successful?
In some cases, yes. I'll give an example. The way school funding, right? So we look at school funding. School funding is predicated on zip codes, right? So if you live in an area that has high incomes, you'll necessarily go to a school that is well funded. So we know that we can fundamentally understand that. So the proper way to do this would be to apportion the school funding so it's even-handed. So we take a little bit of money from a wealthy community and spread it to the poorer communities, but that doesn't happen.
I happen to know that black schools are getting more money than the white schools are because of the black politicians, and white people are afraid now, and yet the blacks are turning out screwed up. Why is that?
I didn't say that.
You didn't say what?
I didn't say the blacks are turning up screwed up.
No, I said it.
Oh,
I said,
okay.
and yet they're turning out screwed up. So they're getting the money going to the schools.
I'm not so sure. I mean,
that they're screwed up or that they're getting the money?
Well, I would say this, that there are some inherent problems within the African American community, and not all of them can be attributed to certainly to the white community, but a great number of them can be. I'll just give you an example of this. I went to a historically black college in Texas, Prairie View A&M University.
Oh, I'm familiar with that.
And Prairie View was founded because the whites in Texas did not want black students to go to Texas A&M. So they founded Prairie View, and what they systematically did for its existence since 1876 is they underfunded the university. They did this knowing that even under Jim Crow, the idea was separate but equal. They had separate, but it was not equal. So just to keep going here, just for a moment, the answer to that is that I know a person like yourself could not think that that would be anywhere fair, nor would you probably want to say that those students receive the same type of quality of education as those students who went to the all-white Texas A&M.
I happen to think that that's perfect. That if that happened, that it happened that way, because when people are not supposed to take care of you, you're supposed to take care of yourself. And I happen to know that in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, if somebody refused to give you something, you go out and get it yourself. It brought out the best in black people.
Yeah, sure.
And because I grew up on a plantation in Alabama under the Jim Crow laws, and because blacks didn't rely on the whites or begging someone for something, they had family, they worked hard, they created their own, they were doing quite well. It wasn't until they started begging and blaming
but you can't,
with the civil rights movement that they became weak and pathetic.
But I know that you're not trying to suggest that life for African Americans was some type of a utopia in 1870.
Well, I don't know about
life for most black people was a living hell.
I don't know about 1870, but I know about from 1949 to this day, it's been paradise for blacks. But they're so angry and demoralized, they don't realize it.
I will concede that I think that there are some black people who are definitely angry, and there's good reason for it.
There's never a good reason to be angry.
Okay.
Let me ask, if black people did what white people did, and the Jews, if they got married instead of having 70% of the children out of wedlock, if the mother stayed home and deal with the children when they go and come from school, the father provided, if they set a good example for their kids of working hard, treating people the way they would like to be treated, not blaming at others, would blacks be well off today, or would they still be in this hole that they're
in? I
in?
don't know how to answer that question, because I think the African American experience is unique. I mean, what other racial group had organizations that were designed and built specifically to kill them?
No, I'm asking you.
I
a
mean,
whole lot of other ones.
Yeah, we could say probably in Nazi Germany, certainly the Nazi regime was designed in a way to
white people have been
exterminate Jews.
enslaved too, and they're doing quite well.
Where's that?
But I want to go back to my question.
Wait a minute, but where's that?
They were enslaved in this country. They have been enslaved
in this
here
country.
before.
Where?
Oh yeah, there were white slaves as well.
Who?
But let's go back to the
Wait
question.
Wait a minute. White slaves
I want to go
where?
back to the question. You didn't answer my question first.
Okay.
If black people didn't have 70% of their babies out of wedlock, and they loved what was right and did the right thing, got married, set a good example, taught their kids how to work and be responsible, treat people the way that they would like to be treated, would they still be whimpering and whining and begging and blaming about 1800s
I don't know.
today?
You're making the assumption that inherently there are some of these things that black people don't do. Certainly there is a problem of out of babies being born out of wedlock, but that's symptomatic of the white community.
But
right? We see
black,
that. I think
the whites are not begging and blaming. It's the blacks who are begging and blaming.
Well, I wouldn't characterize it as begging and blaming.
What would you call it?
I'm not sure how to answer that. What I would argue is I think that there is an argument within the black community that there is a debt that is owed to black people.
Amazing. So I need to go back to my question because you didn't answer it yet.
Yeah, because I'm not sure quite how to answer that.
If black people did what the Jews are doing, the whites are doing, and others, if they got married, they set a good example for the kids. The father went out and provided for his family. They taught the kids to work and be responsible. Would the blacks be in the situation they're in today?
Okay, I would argue that your question, just as its surface, is a somewhat loaded question, and I think the bottom baseline answer to that would be, of course. Right? We would.
So why not teach them to do that?
Who's not teaching them to do that?
Are you teaching them that it's not the white man and you guys are doing it wrong?
I teach my students that every person has a responsibility to do for themselves.
But are you also teaching them that the white man is trying to hold them back?
I'm not teaching them that the white man is trying to hold them back. I am telling them that there are institutions and patterns of racism that are embedded in the fabric of America that will at times challenge you.
Do you tell them that white people are racist?
I tell them that there are racist people in America.
Do you tell them that those racist people are white people?
No, I do not.
So you don't say white people are racist?
I tell them that there are racist people in America.
And who are those people?
They could be just about anybody who has power in this country. If someone has the ability to deny you a job based on your skin color, they probably are racist.
So I hear that the Jews have a lot of power. Are they racist?
Some could be. I don't know. I don't know that for a fact.
But they have a lot of power.
Yeah, if a Jewish person denied you a job based on your skin color, that's probably racist.
So do you agree that they have a lot of power?
Well, some Jews do. Some black people have a lot of power. Some white people have a lot of power.
Are those Jews racist?
Which ones? The ones that discriminate against you because of your skin color?
Power.
No, not because they have power.
Are white people who have power?
No, not because they have power.
Okay. There are, it's changing a little bit. They're trying to change it. But light-skinned blacks discriminate against dark-skinned blacks. Some of them won't hire them.
Yeah, we have a colorism issue.
Are they racist?
Well, I would say that if a light-skinned black person had the power to deny you a job, they probably might be racist. If they're doing it because you are a dark-skinned black person, they probably are racist.
So anyone
black people, if they have power, can be racist. We can see this in Haiti.
Do you believe that all white people are racist? Or just
absolutely
some?
not.
Oh, okay.
There are some really good people of all races.
Okay.
No.
Do you tell your class that?
Oh, absolutely.
And so when I was growing up under the Jim Crow laws, blacks did better then because they believed in God. They got married. They had, they took care of their families. The parents and grandparents were around. They did much better then. They bought land. They created their own schools. They came back as professionals. They were doing better, and they were not blaming anything on white people. They were not blaming anything on white people. What was the difference then and now when they got all the freedom now to do whatever they want?
Okay, now I think I understand a little bit better where you're going with your argument. Then this is where I will concede. I think that there is one essential thing that black people, I think, don't talk about a lot, and that is after the Civil War, black people really did have to depend on themselves. And I think people like Michelle Alexander will concede the idea that before we had desegregation, full-blown desegregation, there were a lot more black doctors, there were more black engineers, more black lawyers. I think black people there were a lot more black professionals, leaders in their communities. And I think
but they were not thinking of, don't believe Michelle, she's not all there.
Well, I think her statement,
No,
I think her
she's
statement is
wicked.
absolutely
She's
right, and I think
pure-
she would back you up on
but
your
the
assessment.
way she presented as though white people
Well, I'm
destroying
not
black
speaking
people.
about her entire argument.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
talking about the argument here where she makes the argument that before desegregation, before blacks were
But
quote unquote allowed,
even
there
at
were
that time,
more black doctors, more black
I
lawyers.
know, but at that time, black people were not into black. They were doing it because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
they were decent people, so they just took care of their families. They took care of themselves. They weren't into, oh, I got to do better than the whites, or the whites are trying to hold me back, because they were taught to treat everybody the same.
Well, I think black
as you would like to be
communities,
treated.
I think black communities were more unified, I think, to some degree.
No, they weren't unified. It's
I
just
would-
that
I would argue
because
so.
if you were a bad black person, you can't hang out with the other black people.
Well,
I remember
I
so
don't-
many
I don't
times
know.
when if the parents were bad, my parents would say, you can't hang out with those kids. The parents are no good, so the kids are no good too. And they were black. It was based on right and wrong.
Well,
not
that's
color.
what I was taught, right? So I don't know. I mean, my mother was old school, right, from
That's
Texas.
right.
So you
So why
couldn't-
can't you guys go back to teaching that rather than all this phony racism stuff?
Well, I mean, I hope that you're not trying to concede the idea that racism doesn't exist and that
It
we
doesn't.
shouldn't be teaching. You're saying that racism does not exist?
Not at all. It has never existed. It's a made-up lie from the children of the lie to control the masses. Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a battle between right and wrong.
So
and
let me
those
see if I
people
got
who are
this.
teaching racism.
Okay, so let me see
Let
if
me
I
just
have.
finish this
Okay.
first. Those people who are teaching racism are evil people, and they're trying to control the people by getting them to believe a lie.